There's a lot to love about Kagurabachi, but the one aspect where I think the series shines is the dynamic between Chihiro and major antagonists. Of course, we only have had a couple, but there's one villain that I think has made a lasting impression on not just Chihiro, but also me and maybe you as well as readers. Before we take a look at this character, I just want to remind everyone to like and subscribe. I am pushing for 1K by the end of the year, and I have some really fun videos coming as well as more Kagurabachi content, so enjoy this one. Peace. As you may have guessed, the villain I referred to a bit ago is Sojo. He is most likely the first person to challenge Chihiro's perception of his late father. Chihiro has been hidden away his whole life, so there's very few people who know his identity, but it seems those that do know have always made sure to tell him Shige was a hero. And just as a quick note, I will be referring to Chihiro's father as Shige, so I don't brutally mispronounce that. Sojo presented a major hurdle for Chihiro emotionally, and he did it this early and with such subtle nuance, it made me think of Zabuza from Naruto. How Zabuza helped shape Naruto's ninja way, Sojo confronted Chihiro's views and resolve early by opening his eyes to the fact that he isn't the only one that is allowed to speak on Shige or have their own perception of him. Jinichi Sojo admired Shige. He was the person who inspired and shaped his ideals. Sojo's interpretation of Chihiro's father stems from his environment growing up, which was a worldview of bloodshed. This bloodshed was caused by the war that his father got famous for, which led to a perception of Shige's blades as instruments of relentless killing, an ideology starkly contrasting Chihiro's altruistic principles. Sojo became more interested in Chihiro when finding out his lineage and wanted to talk more with him. By clashing swords, he got his way. As that short exchange progressed, they further deepened their understanding of each other. This leads to both of them acknowledging their conflicting ideals, but still dismisses them in regards to their own. The winner of this clash will dictate who is right. Chihiro swallowed the reality that the fruits of his father's labor had consequences attached to them. He accepts that, but now he faces it with his own answer, the one he saw through his own eyes. He will destroy the very thing his father devoted his life to making, but I feel like he will soon come to realize that he himself was the thing that Shige devoted his life to in actuality. In every arc, we get something unique that ties into Chihiro's views of his father and the time that he got to spend with him. The first arc is the one that challenges Chihiro to view his father differently and deepen his resolve to complete his goal. I'd like to add that he still holds his father in high regard and doesn't see him as some warmonger or anything like that. He sees his father the same way, but now he accepts the fact that not everyone is going to view him as such, that there is consequences attached to both sides of the blade. In the second arc, Chihiro faces a prominent family where most of the sons are all close with their father, but only because of their talent as sorcerers and not out of a familial bond. Chihiro spent most of his life next to Shige with love and care, but witnessed how toxic wanting your parents' love could actually be. Kyora's sons put their lives on the line solely to protect the thing that Kyora cared about. It wasn't even something that they were invested in or cared about as independent individuals. It was all for their father. They just wanted his approval, his love. Kyoura Sazanami was confronted by Chihiro's words to just believe in Hakuri, and he realized Chihiro was right. Coming to this conclusion, he regained his sense of self and put down Magatsumi, dying with the regret of not living up to what it meant to be a father. Now in the third arc, Hirohiko seemingly has his own interpretation and understanding of Chihiro, not Shige. In the first two arcs, Chihiro comes to understand Sojo and to some capacity Kyora, but this time around the villain in front of Chihiro will learn to understand him. He thinks he has our hero figured out as a blood-stained monster, and says that this is how others view him. Chihiro even lends credence to that, asking, whose fault is that? Chihiro viewing himself as a monster is tragic because we know him for the character Hokuzono laid out for us, which is a caring young man with a strong moral compass and even stronger resolve. The resolve to become a monster to drag the more evil monsters to hell with him. It will be interesting to see if Hirohiko will change in some capacity when he witnessed firsthand what kind of person Chihiro is. A monster that can fight for the good guy. That is, if Hirohiko escapes in chapter 54, of course, which that could happen with the help of the other Hishaku guy. And I'm not saying Hirohiko will become a good guy or anything like that. I mean more in a situation where at death's door he chooses to give information on the Hishaku to Chihiro. Maybe he sees a version of himself in Chihiro and wants him to succeed for that very reason. He speaks about Yura, the leader, pretty casually, which makes me think he isn't as tapped into the group's objective. The opposite is also true, that he will lament or curse how unfair it is for the monster he knows as Chihiro to be accepted and loved by others, while his worldview has been colored as cold, detached, and filled with bloodshed. This could drive him inwardly, and maybe causing him to do something drastic, resulting in major casualties. I'm sure you and I both are looking forward to seeing the feast Hokuzono serves us in the coming chapters. Since this is my first Kagurabachi video, I'd like to close it out with just some general thoughts. I caught up right around chapter 20, that's when I started reading it. I think it is indeed peak. The art is, let's just be honest, the art is gas, it's great, but it's the consistency of the art. I don't know how many color pages Hokuzono's gotten already, but it has to be towards the top of like the most color pages by someone with 50 chapters in their log. I spoke about in this video that the dynamic between Chihiro and the antagonist is the shining aspect, but another one that I think is arguably could be first is the fight choreography. I think it is a really fun series to theorize about. You know, it could go any way. We know that there's a traitor in the Kaminabi. Is it Azami? Is it this guy who tried to smoke Chihiro when he was in cuffs? Which kind of suspiciously looks a little like this silhouette in some way. Maybe it is this female Kaminabi leader. Could it have been Shiba? God, I hope not. And I also hope it's not Hiyuki. Who knows, maybe Shige knew this was coming and basically gave himself up in exchange to protect his son. As of now, I'm not sure exactly where I land on that, but we know that there's some foul play being had. There's some shenanigans going on in the Baki of Kagura. All in all though, I really love the series. I think it's one of the strongest shonen out right now, and I do plan on making content pretty regularly about the series. Now it won't be chapter reviews, but it'll most likely be arc reviews with random topic videos or discussions, as well as theory videos. Basically kind of like I did for Jujutsu Kaisen. But if there's any ideas that you guys have or topics you want me to cover, it doesn't have to be for Kagurabaki exclusively. It can be any series. I don't just read shonen. I've actually read a decent bit of manga series, and I'm open for just about any genre except horror. I'm not really into horror. I do love a good romance too. But that'll be it for me. Thanks for watching the whole video. Remember, stay normie, stay weeb, shit even in between is fine. Until next time, peace.